I love my country and I love the people in it, but I also love law and order and fairness. And right now it feels like those three things have been pushed aside or flat out forgotten altogether. Every year, more and more people come to Canada claiming asylum. Instead of fixing the system, our government just keeps expanding it. They hand out assistance in every direction, while the people who built this country, who fought for it, and who keep it running are left waiting in line behind everyone else. Nothing that has ever left my mouth has ever come from a place of hate. Any message that I put out, I say it out of love because I want to see Canada thrive. I want my kids to feel proud of their country like I used to. We're supposed to be a country of compassion, but compassion without boundaries becomes chaos. And you can't have real compassion when you're neglecting your own citizens. Today, when I learned that Canada doesn't keep track of how many of our veterans have taken their own lives, the people who served, sacrificed, and gave everything for this country, they aren't even counted. I decided that today's topic would be how the government either cherry picks certain data or they deliberately twist the numbers to keep Canadians looking in the other direction. Here in Canada, if the government doesn't want something to make them look bad, they'll flat out refuse to keep track of certain statistics because if they did, the government could be held accountable. If Ottawa keeps trying to please the world instead of protecting its own people, things won't get better. They'll only get worse. That's just 6 months. Now, tell me how, on the exact same website, they're bragging about a 58% drop in asylum claims from visa holders and 33% fewer asylum claims overall compared to last year. How can both be true? It is not and never has been anti-immigrant to say that we need balance. It's pro-Canadian to say that our government should put Canadians first. The Canadian government is selling Canadian citizens one version of the truth and newcomers another, but the data doesn't lie. I like to try and keep up with what bills are being considered for passing, and I just happened to come across this article. I think that Canada is in a weird place where it wants to sound like its borders are secure and not allowing just anybody to walk in, but it also wants to sound welcoming and easily accessible to anyone looking to move here. I found it very strange how I needed to change one single word in order to get the statistic for 2024. Almost like it's on purpose. The first thing that stuck out to me was the amount of links that were all over this website. Links meant for people looking to move to Canada that led directly back to the Government of Canada website. It just didn't feel very nice reading this, seeing that over half of the people moving here are sponsored and not here on work or student visas. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of claims, but instead of being transparent, they handpick the stats that sound good in a headline. Canadians deserve the truth, not a polished version of it. Ottawa says they don't release crime stats by immigration status because of privacy and to avoid stigmatizing newcomers. It sounds noble until you realize every single person in Canada can be called a Canadian resident. A kid born in Halifax, Canadian resident. A refugee who just crossed the border yesterday, Canadian resident. A temporary born worker on a 2-year visa, Canadian resident. Same label, zero distinction. The Canadian police do record immigration status when they arrest someone. CBSA knows exactly how many non-citizens they deport for violent crime. It was less than 5,000 last year. But when StatsCan released the public crime report, poof, everyone's just a Canadian resident. That's not privacy. We do not collect or publish data that could lead to stigmatization is just another way of saying we won't let you see the data that might make you ask uncomfortable questions. I know I'm not the only person who's noticed that the majority of the people living on the streets at the moment are not immigrants. They're homegrown Canadian citizens who've had to make the choice between paying rent and feeding themselves that month, and it breaks my heart. Our country puts its citizens last on its list of priorities. It becomes more and more obvious with every new bill they introduce. It's time for this to stop.